Okay, so my day job is not racing these, unfortunately. I'm not fast enough and didn't start early enough. But what I do deal with on a daily basis is injection molding and mold making. And listen, I gotta tell you, when you see a part like this, and you think, oh, that's just a plastic piece in there. No, this is a metric ton of work just to make this one plastic piece part of this assembly here, the air box holding everything. This mold here, to make this part, is probably, if you've got it here, you're probably about this much further this way, this much further this way, and this way. So you're talking 24 inches by 20 inches, okay? And that, given the volume that they're doing on it, is likely going to be some form of steel. This part is molded out of what feels like a polypropylene, yeah. And it's noted, they've got that marked in there in the plastic, so you can tell it's propylene. And it's, got their labeling, KTM on there. But what you have is you got all these different ways where there's openings and different details like that. On top of that, what you have in here is you've got a spot where there's a threaded insert here. There's one here. The opposite side, you have another one here, okay? So each one of those has to have some sort of mechanism to make that go in and out. Another one going here. And you can see witness marks of this stuff all the way around like that, okay? So that there's some sort of, the detail that does this is shaped like that, and it's holding that there. And then it also has to have something on the opposite side so that little insert doesn't blow around. It has to be pinched in the middle of two pins, essentially. You can get away with it not being completely like that depending on the situation, but usually there's something on both sides. Now, this one you can kind of see that, but neither here nor there. You've got something going here, 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 and each of those costs money. If you're just going to mold like a handle on a screwdriver, this means the mold, there's no fancy details. The mold can essentially just go open and closed, put a rod in, mold it, comes out. This, yes, it's open and closed like this and this, but you've got actions doing this. You've got all sorts of pins and pass-throughs. These are like called shutoffs. And so those, you've got to grind finish those because otherwise you end up with flash around there and it's just a bad looking part. You've got details on this going every which way. If you were to make this tool in the United States, this part alone, just to make the mold, to be able to mold the part, is probably, I would guess, this is over 100K to make just this mold here. Depending on where you go, you can go to Asia, you'd probably get something like this for maybe half that. If you import that tool into the US, you're gonna pay a 30% tariff on it. So it's, 50,000 plus, another 30% of it. So you're at 65 grand, and then you get all the details with that. But this is one part among, so just looking at the bike here, you've got you've got grip molds, you've got bar pad molds, you've got fan molds, you've got little molds for everything here, you've got stuff down on the swing arm, you've got plastic parts everywhere. So you can assume that the cheapest mold for one of these is maybe $10,000, just as a safe number. That is why a bike like this costs so much money. And yes, I cringe when I look at the MSRPs on these things, but when you look at all this stuff in here, like, these are things where most mold makers are not even going to want to bother with this stuff because it's such a pain in the neck to make a mold that will do this and create a part consistently. So when you see a new bike price, when you see all that stuff, and yes, I know that KTM has recently shifted a bunch of stuff to China, which, yeah, not too shocking. They've been doing stuff there for years. Hey, shocker, anything you buy, Honda, Toyota, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki, you name the company, they're sourcing stuff in China. Whether or not, BMW, Mercedes, all these companies, they're getting stuff from China. Okay, it's no mystery. It is what it is. But if you wonder why this stuff costs what it does, it's because there's that much going into it. And, it's bananas when you look at this stuff and you dig into it and you go, holy cow, there's that much going on in this stuff. And then if you look at it stuff and there's multiple cavities, they're molded multiples at the time, it's crazy. Now, add in the fact that a part like this, you've got a half a pound of polypropylene. Even if they're getting $2 a pound, you've got $1 in plastic. These threaded inserts, those are usually, depending on where you get them, they can be 10 cents a piece, they can be 15 cents a piece, around there. So you have another 30, 50 cents in various materials on here, plus the labor to actually make this thing. So the fact that this part, I believe, if you go on Rocky Mountain ATV, is roughly around, like $15 or $20, it's bananas. I don't know how many these they sell to make it pan out, but holy cow. When you see all the details, it's just, you got to think about how much goes into this stuff. And one little part, that could be 6 figures just to make a tool to be able to make these. So if you're wondering about bike prices and all that stuff, look no further than the little details on these bikes that you have no idea how they're made. If you've got questions on those, let me know. Happy to let you know. I've got, personally, 30 years of experience in the tool and die and manufacturing industry, because that's my livelihood. So if there are any questions, happy to help. Bye.